Hi everyone, welcome to DIY Ideas. So today I have some sewing tips and hacks that I want to try out with you, and some are interesting, some are maybe even a little bit weird, but we're going to try them out together and we're going to see which ones work and which ones don't. So stay tuned. So one that I saw really often is different hacks and tricks how you can put your thread through the little hole on your needle easier. So sometimes it's the thread that's fraying, sometimes it's a small needle. In this case, I took both to make it a little bit more challenging, and we're going to try this hack out. So yeah, here is the needle and the little bit frayed thread, and the first hack is to just use some hairspray for the end of the thread, and that way it should be easier to put through the hole. So let's try it out. Oh wow, so okay, this really does work and it's really a lot easier. Okay, so hairspray does work, and yeah, it was a little bit faster than what I usually would have needed as far as time goes to put it through without it, because it makes it a little bit stiffer, so that's really cool. So let's try out the other end with the wax. You can sometimes use hair gel as well, but I have here some wax. So let's see, we're going to do the same thing, put it on the end and push it through, or try to push it through the hole. Okay, so in this case, it's not working as well. The hairspray was quicker. No, it actually keeps fraying the same way as if it weren't with wax. So let's give it one more shot just in case I did something weird. So the not so nice part of this is that you also have sticky fingers afterwards because of the wax. Okay, it was a little bit quicker this time, but I think it doesn't work as well as hairspray. Okay, so the wax does work, but it's not as optimal or not as good as the hairspray. So what I used to do before, and that's also really simple, is just take a little bit of spit on your fingers and basically just make the thread wet, and that way it doesn't fray. So whoever works with sewing projects knows about this problem, and this is these little fuzzy pieces that stay on your pieces of fabric as you work with them from different fabrics or from thread or anything else. So what we want to do is try to remove those. So I found a really cool and really easy trick, and for that we're just going to need some tape. Mine is transparent here, but I think it doesn't matter. It would work with other kinds as well, as long as it's sticky. The cool thing is you can put it around your fingers and then have it even easier and do it faster. And that way you just tap on the fabric stays where it is, and you just pick up all of those little fuzzy pieces and leftover bits of thread and similar. And yeah, this really does work, and it's really simple. The only issue that I might see with this is that you have a lot of trash afterwards. So you may, if you do a lot of sewing, you may have a lot of tape lying around from something like this. But yeah, it does work. So yeah, it does pick all of the little bits up. So that's the really cool part about it. So if you really need it, this is a really cool trick, but make sure not to overdo it, just to avoid producing a lot of trash. I think in most cases, just pushing it away with your fingers is going to work just fine. So this is just if you really, really can't do it because the fabric just has it sticking on there for some reason. Okay, so now a really cool trick that most of you probably know. So I'm going to show you how to stop something from happening, and that's fraying of the edges of your fabric here. So what we want to do, or what we usually do, is a zigzag stitch to prevent that, but I'm also going to show you another trick, how that is not going to happen or going to happen less. So I have here my zigzag fabric scissors, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So just cut it out in a zigzag style. And it looks really good. I think it looks really cute, but even if you pull on it, the fabric just doesn't keep or doesn't start fraying. So that's a really cool trick, and it just takes a couple of seconds to do, and you have your problem solved, or not even solved, you have your problem prevented. And yeah, then you can do stitches on here, so just act like it's a normal, regular, straight line. It doesn't change anything in the project, but it does this really cool trick where you don't have anything fraying. So I always recommend doing a zigzag stitch because it's a lot safer that way, I think, a lot more secure, but this is also a neat trick to know. So this is a trick I already knew, but I definitely wanted to keep it in this video and show it to you because I think it's really, really cool. So when you buy new thread for your sewing machine on a little spool like this, then sometimes in the beginning it's difficult to get this beginning thread from the top out. And maybe you didn't know, you can push this little top section out and basically take this thread out because it just jumps out at you, so where the beginning is. And that way you can just push it on the inside again when you're done or when you find it, and then start working with it. So it's a really cool trick, really neat, but I noticed that not everyone knows about it, so I wanted to show it to you. So now this is a trick about thicker fabric or waxed fabric and pins, and for this we're just going to need some regular soap, pins of course, and the fabric itself. So in case the fabric is rougher, you can push the needle through it, the pin, not the needle, and if you just basically stick it in a bar of soap, the entire pin, then it should slide in a lot easier. So I think you just saw, just like I did, that it basically does the same thing, and I really don't see the point in this because it does go in just as difficult as the first one if the fabric is a little bit thicker or weirder. But yeah, I wouldn't waste any soap on this. I would use soap where I usually use it and just be a little bit more careful with the pins. So another trick that just partially did what it was supposed to be, at least when I tried it out, is how you can fold your own bias tape. So you see here, we can basically make bias tape out of anything. Just take some tape and fold it, fold the both ends to the midline. And this trick I saw online where you basically take a piece of cardboard and then you just make the one hole bigger and then the one hole smaller on here. You can see it on the bottom. And then when you pull your fabric through, it should basically just fold itself into this section, but it just didn't work as well in my case. So here you can see the back side. Basically you put, or you fold the open end, the smaller end, the right way, and then when you pull the fabric or the band, it should actually do the same thing on its own. But as I said, it just worked partially well, so I still had to fix the ends, and I'm gonna try and pull on it so that you can see what it looks like. And yeah, it's just not equal or not equally wide on both sides all the time, and it's just not symmetrical, so I always have to fix it up a little bit. It may save some time, but in my opinion, it doesn't really do much. So yeah, I still had to pin it. You can see the pins here and fix it up. So feel free to try it out, but I just don't think it worked really, really well, or as well as I hoped. So the trick is that you can iron over this, but as I said, make sure to check it before you do. So the next trick is about doing knots really easily. So you see here I have my thread through the hole and I have it doubled on here. So you can apparently make really quick and easy knots. So you see here we're making this little loop, holding it with our thumb on here. So just make sure it doesn't slip. And then what we want to do is just take this little loop and basically twist it around the needle itself. Then pull it a little bit to the bottom and then keep your fingers tight on here and just pull it all the way, pull your fingers all the way to the end of the thread. So this was pretty cool because it did work and it was really, really simple. So just make sure you're careful when you're doing it, but it is a trick that works. So the next trick is for turning fabric inside out. So we're gonna need a hairpin and then we're gonna take our little stitched up tunnel or loop that we did, and this is turned inside out. So we're making a little cut on here. Just make sure later you cut it off so it doesn't look weird, but we push our hairpin through that and then through the inside. So it's a little bit tricky, but you can do it. And then you just pull it on the other side and turn it inside out. So this is a really simple trick, but it might end up ripping your fabric. So that's a risk that you have to take. And I still think that a safety pin works just as well, to be honest, and you don't have to waste any fabric that way. So yeah, it's a really cool alternative, but I don't think it's much better than the way we usually do it. So I'm going to show you the safety pin trick in case you didn't know it, although most people do it this way. So just push it through the one side of the fabric, not both. And then what you want to do is just basically go and feel the safety pin on the inside and just push it all the way to the other end. And since it's through the fabric, it's going to take the fabric with it and to the other side. And then you're going to be able to turn it inside out quicker and without any holes in the fabric or anything weird, as with the hairpin. The last trick, it's again the same thing, and I'm going to show you how to do this with a regular needle and some thread. So we're taking it again through just the one side and not both, and then we're doing basically 2 holes, or we're going through it 2 times, and then maybe even 3 in case your thread is pretty thin. And what we want to do then is again the same thing, push the needle through the inside and basically take it out. Just make sure, in this case, you need to be really careful not to hurt yourself on the sharp end of the pin, of the needle. And then you just push it through and you take it out on the outside, on the other side, and turn it inside out. So that's an even cooler trick, I think, in this case. Just make sure you're careful and don't hurt yourself. So I decided to show you 3 different styles because I think it's easier to find your own one or the one you like the best if you see all of them. So yeah, I prefer the safety pin, but you can do pretty much anything else with it. So here I want to show you how you can push just some elastic bands through your little fabric piece with a safety pin as well. And it goes really quickly and it doesn't leave any damage on your fabric. So yeah, this is the last trick that I had for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys liked this video, feel free to shoot me a thumbs up to let me know. You can also subscribe to the channel, and if you click on the notification bell, it's going to keep you notified every time I post something new. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye!